What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. Excuse me. Now before we get started with today's video, the road to 200 subs has now come to a close, and we're now on the road to 500 subs. Who knows? Maybe we might hit 500 subs by the end of the summer. Only time will tell. But as I have said in previous videos, if this channel does get to 500 subs, I will open up this Korean LOB booster box in its entirety on the channel that I got from my partners at Collector Store. So be sure to check them out. Link and address excuse me, will be in the description below. By checking them out, not only does it support them, it also supports the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. On the hopes to potentially pull a Blue Eyes White Dragon, a Dark Magician, a Red Eyes Black Dragon, a piece of Exodia, Monster Reborn, Pot of Greed. The possibilities are out there. However, if this channel gets to 1,000 subs, I will open up this first edition Toon Chaos box in its entirety on the channel that I also got from my partners at Collector Store, on the hopes to potentially pull a collector's rare out of this set. But it wouldn't be the first time that I pulled a collector's rare, because I also pulled this. Freshly pulled out of my Genesis Impact box opening is a collector's rare B Cup from the Underworld. This thing is absolutely beautiful. Obviously, the centering on the back is a bit off from top to bottom, as you guys can probably tell. But honestly, I am going to be getting this card graded, but I never came up with a good opportunity to do so. But with that being said, if you guys want to see these boxes get opened, maybe you guys want more episodes of WWE's Biggest Issue. Maybe you guys want more episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh's Biggest Issue. Deck profiles, card discussions, WWE topic videos, or maybe, just maybe, you guys want some premium live event predictions and results. Well, if you guys want all of that and more, my channel is the place to be. So if you guys are new to the channel, and I know that a lot of you guys are, because more than 70% of you guys have not subscribed to this channel, and you guys are watching the content. So if you guys are new, so if you guys are one of those 75+% people who watch my content and love the content and want more of the content that I produce here on the channel, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, smash that thumbs up button on this video, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And I want you guys to post in the comments below answering the question of the day, excuse me, which actually kind of ties with today's video, which is this. What are your guys' thoughts on the the new Diabell Star archetype, or I guess the Sinful Spoils archetype, if you will? What are your guys' thoughts on it, and do you think it has the potential to be a tier 0 meta deck? Because honestly, looking at this first new card, it just might. It just might. Let me know down in the comments below. And yes, for today's video, we have some brand new Diabell Star, or I guess Snake Eyes support, Simple Sword. I don't know what the fuck. I might just title it Snake Eyes support, because technically Diabell Star is part of the Snake Eyes archetype. So I might just title it that. You guys will probably see it once it's posted, but there are, I believe, 5 cards to talk about, if I am not mistaken. To check my iPhone here. 3, 4, 5. Yes, there are 5. There are exactly 5 cards to talk about, and I'm not gonna waste any time. I'm just gonna get straight into it. So kicking these off, we have we have Snake Eyes Diabell Star, which is an 8-star fire spellcaster with 2800 attack, 2600 defense, and both of its effects are once per turn. And the first effect reads when an attack is declared involving this card and an opponent's monster, you can place that opponent's monster and this card face up in their own spell and trap zones as continuous spells. Second effect reads, if this card is a continuous spell, you can target one fire monster in your grave except this card, place it face up in its honor spell and trap zone as a continuous spell, and if you do, special summon this card. So funny enough, you can actually use both these effects in sequence. So the idea would be for you to use this card's second effect in a completely brand new chain. So let's say for example, your opponent's, I'll say Access Code Talker. Let's say that. Let's say your opponent's Access Code Talker is battling this monster. The idea is for you to take this card plus Access Code Talker, put them into your opponent's back row and your back row respectively as continuous spells. That right there is a completely different chain compared to the second effect. So in the first chain, it would be this card's first effect, and they could end up chaining a card like say Appaloosa, and if you have Appaloosa of your own, you can chain your own Appaloosa to negate theirs, and obviously the chain would end up resolving, in which case your Appaloosa would negate their Appaloosa. Their Access Code Target would get sent into their back row. Your monster, this monster, would be sent into your back row face up as continuous spells. Then in a completely new chain, you could activate this card's second effect, target pretty much any fire monster in your grave, except another copy of itself, which could be, I don't know, maybe a volcanic rocket, let's just say, right? You could take that volcanic rocket, put it into your back row as a continuous spell, and this card gets summoned back onto the front lines in attack position or defense, but depending on how you want to summon it. Honestly, that's kind of cracked, if you ask me. It's actually kind of cracked, because if you're able to make another level 8 monster right off the bat, or at least 2, you can use all 3 monsters to go into Coach King Giant Trainer, deal your opponent a fuck ton of damage, and then push for game, which is kind of cracked if you ask me. But next up we have Battle of the Sinful Spoils, which is a quick play spell, and the effects are once per turn, and the first effect reads target cards you control up to the number of your Sinful Spoil cards that are banished and or in your grave, and or cards your opponent controls up to the number of their Sinful Spoil cards that are banished and or in their graveyard, destroy them. So basically, this is perfect for the mirror matches, pretty much. That's about it. So yeah, so if they have a bunch of Sinful Spoil cards and you do as well, you get to pop their Sinful Spoil cards, and that's about it. Again, this is mainly a card like this, of this magnitude, of that's this good, is mainly for the mirror matches. So this card is definitely perfect as a side deck card, not much so of a main deck card, because if you put it in the main deck and you're at a YCS, or if you're at a, like, let's say a regional or something like that, and you're not going up against a player with the same deck, then this card ends up being a brick, and when you go to game 2, you're gonna have no choice but to side this card out and replace it with, like, let's say, I'll say Nibiru or something like maybe Ash Blossom or something like that. So not perfect as a main deck card, but it's still pretty cool as a side deck card. Just off of this first effect alone. The second effect reads, if the set card is destroyed or banished by an opponent's activated effect, you can shuffle up to 2 cards on the field into the deck. So you guys definitely see where I'm getting at. It's 50-50. It's like you want to put it in the main deck, but if you're not going up against a mirror, if you're not competing in a mirror match, you want this in the side deck. So it's like, what do you do? What do you do? You know. So that's that. Now we have three other cards that work well with those 2 cards, and the first one, if I can, there we go, is known as Diabels of the Original Sin. Quite the name, if you ask me. Which is a 7-star light illusion with 2,500 attack, 2,000 defense, so almost the stats of a Dark Magician. I think this card's defense is like 100 shy of 21, obviously, but the first effect, which is a special summon effect, is a once per turn, and its third effect is also once per turn. And the first effect reads, if there is a Sinful Spoils card in either graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. Basically a Cyber Dragon. Not much else to say about that. Second effect reads, your opponent cannot activate spell or trap cards that were not set. So this is actually a really funny version of anti-spell, because anti-spell fragrance is a nasty floodgate. This card basically ensures that your opponent has no choice but to set back row and then later on use them. So if your opponent tries to use a card like let's say Cosmic Cyclone, and they have it in their hand, they can't use it. It has to be set. If they want to try and activate a trap card because of the effects of Makiora the Destructor, nope, they gotta set it. They have to set it. So literally, this card stops Makiora from using its effect fully, which is absolutely insane. The third effect says if a spell or trap is set to the field while this monster is on the field, you can target one card you control and one card your opponent controls, destroy them. So if you have, let's say the field, this archetype's, I'll say, field spell, and your opponent has at least one back row. You target both the field spell plus the back row, you pop them, and then if you have Terraforming in hand, guess what? Terraforming, boom, field spell back onto the board. Plain simple. Not much else to say about that, honestly. Next up, we have Sinful Spoils Cycle. Which is a normal trap, and both of its effects are once per turn. And the first effect reads, take one level 5 or higher illusion monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or special summon it. If summoned this way, it cannot activate its effects during the main phase this turn. So main phase 1, main phase 2, you cannot activate it. You cannot activate monster effects. Although, if it has an effect during the battle phase, which is like a quick effect of sorts, then yes, you could use it technically, but still, that's actually kind of cracked. So in a way, it's kind of like a Rhoda, but you can either use it as a Rhoda or use it as a like, I would say like a Cyber Dragon like effect, where you can just special summon it just right off the bat. But still, for the most part, you kind of want to go into the Rhoda effect, if you will. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. Sneezing can only mean one thing. Someone must be talking about you. That's probably it. Anyway. Anyway, the second effect reads, you can banish this card from your grave, target one face down card you control, return it to the hand, then you can set one spell or trap from your hand. I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad. I mean, if you have a set monster and you didn't commit to this, and you didn't commit to your normal summon, you could go banish this card, bounce the face down monster back to your hand, set a spell or trap, and then reset the monster. It's almost as if you didn't even do anything at all. It would be funny. It would be funny, but still, that's actually not bad. Not bad at all. And now the last card to talk about in today's video is known as Sinful Spoils of Dozing Morrigan, which I'm probably butchering the name, but it's all good. And it's a normal trap, and both of its effects are a hard once per turn, meaning it says here you can only use one of the first and second effects of this card's name per turn, and only once that turn, meaning you can only use it so often, every so often. The first effect reads, target one face-up special summon monster, change to the face-down defense. Second effect reads, if you control a level 5 or higher illusion monster and this card is in your grave, you can set this card but banish it when it leaves the field. So funny enough, this is your Book of Moon. This is essentially your Book of Moon for the entire deck. Is it a really bad Book of Moon? Yeah, it's a pretty bad Book of Moon, but if you run 3 copies of this card, you essentially have yourself 6 copies of Book of Moon, essentially, which is kind of cool, I must admit. But my thoughts on the new support cards, honestly, they're pretty cool. I think this archetype does have the potential to make its way into the meta. Excuse me, but just like every other archetype that I've said that about too, it just takes time. We don't really know if we will see them make their way into the meta, but it should be very interesting, to say the very least. But we will just have to wait and see, because Legacy of Destruction, it's a long way away, you guys. I think the next core set up is what, Phantom Nightmare? I think this is the next set coming out, and I've already talked about all the cards that were in there, but the TCG exclusive cards, that's a different story. That's a different story, because you guys know there's always going to be TCG exclusive cards, world premiere cards being printed in core sets. Get ready for those. I'll be talking about those once they have been released. But with that being said, that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more card discussions in the future, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and follow me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.